Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Look, I did not forget I had a hit record button and I hit it as soon as I let you guys in. Because if you've ever been on any of my webinars, you guys know I am the worst at recording. There has been so many times where I've done a webinar and had to go back and completely redo it to record it. So, anyways, hello, happy Thursday. I'm so excited you guys are here. Thank you so much for joining. I am super excited to share with you guys how to stop losing referrals, how to stay top of mind using meta ads. And so in the chat, I just want to hear from you guys. How many of you, and I know I asked in the questionnaire, but from the ones that are here, how many of you guys are currently running ads and like currently running? Say yes or no in the chat so I can kind of get an idea for how many people are running and how many people are not running. Oh, we've got a lot of no's. Okay. So I assume we are all here because we want to be running meta ads. Is that right? Like that is my hope and prayer, right? Everyone wants to be running meta ads. So that is our goal. We are going to get you there, I hope. All right, cool. We've got some that have done some in the past, but not currently. All right, cool. So let me share my screen. Oh, and a little housekeeping note, you guys. So I have, if you don't know anything about me, I do live kind of on a farm. So I have baby chickens in my office. So if you hear chickens chirping, my dad is in the midst of building the coop. Should be done in a couple of days. He tells me 3 days from when the concrete is dry. So if I have a surprise visitor fly to my chair, Buttercup likes to sit with me. So I do apologize. But I will like freak out if I see her fly. So just a heads up there. All right, let me share my screen with you. I'm gonna share screen too, and then I'm gonna move you guys around.
One piece
and
of fish, you got some chicken, some okra. Me and
over here, and then just make sure to mute you guys if you are on calls. Always feel free. I've got the chat open, so if you need something, if you have questions, 13 chickens. Yeah, I've got 8 up in here. And they are all named. So yeah, they won't be my eating chickens. Okay. All right. So here we go. Stop losing referrals, how to stay top of mind with aligned meta ads. I hope you guys can see my screen. You guys can see my presentation. Okay. So how many of you guys have either lost a past client to another loan officer, maybe saw a friend or a relative buy a home and like not use you, and you'd be like, hello, like I'm a loan officer, why didn't you use me, right? Or if you've had a realtor ghost you after a deal, or if you just feel like you might be constantly like rebuilding your pipeline. Like, has anyone felt that? Like, let me know. Raise your hand, tell me in the chat. Let me know if you have ever had that situation. So yes, I'm pretty sure just about everyone has. So if people don't remember you, then they're not going to be able to refer to you. Like that's pretty like standard, right? Fun fact, I closed on our home about 5 years ago here in Dade City. I'm in Florida, and I cannot tell you my loan officer. So if you're on this call, I'm so sorry. You should probably text me. But I am the co-borrower. So I want you to also remember when you, and like, wow, I'm getting ahead of myself, but when you are also reaching out to your past clients, you should be reaching out to your co-borrowers too, right? Because God knows I could be referring a ton of people, but instead I refer obviously my clients and such, which, I don't remember my loan officer is. So keep that in mind. And Wayne, yes, you will get the replay sent to you tomorrow morning once it all processes. Okay, so it's not because you're not good at what you do. Like, I know you guys are the best of the best, and it's because they forgot you were even an option, right? I don't even know my LO who helped me in the home buying process. So I've never heard from her again. I have never seen anything from her again. So that's the harsh truth, right? Like, I have referred people out, but not to her because I don't remember who she is. I don't see anything from her ever. So that's what I want you to think about. Okay. All right. Here's a little bit about me. For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Chelsea Gardner. I am the owner of Fully Aligned Marketing. I have been in marketing for over 15 years. I actually just had to change that number, you guys. It did say 10 for the longest time, and I was like, I just had a birthday yesterday, so it's time to move up those numbers. My husband now tells me I am in my mid 30s and not my, or I am in my late 30s and I am no longer in my mid 30s. So had to switch that number up. I have an undergraduate and a master's in marketing. I am a co-author of the AI Prompt Handbook, so I love ChatGPT. I love AI. I love to think that I have some knowledge around it. I'm also the founder of the Aiden Jared Foundation. So if you don't know anything about me, I am a wife, I am a mom, I am an advocate for special needs. My son has a rare brain condition called lissencephaly, and my husband and I founded the Aiden Jared Foundation 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, when we got his diagnosis to help other special needs families here in Florida and hopefully the nation with some like supplies and funds and things like that. My superpower is simplifying social media, and I love and obsessed with boba tea and iced coffee. So that's a little bit about me. If you want to follow me, you absolutely can do so. I have the QR code right there. You can find me primarily on Instagram at Fully Aligned Marketing. That's where you will find me. Okay, so let's dive in. Enough about me. All right, so the real problem is if you are out of sight, you are out of mind. So relationship marketing is what we want to build in this world, right? We want to build these relationships with our realtor partners, with our past clients, with our sphere of influence. That's what relationship marketing is. And it fails when it is inconsistent. Okay, like it's not something where I am building these relationships one day and then all of a sudden I'm not, right? It doesn't work that way. You got to be consistent with that relationship. And you're competing with so many other loan officers in their feed. So in like social media, right? You've got your Facebook feed, your Instagram feed. You're competing with other loan officers that are showing up in their feed consistently. So if you're not doing that, you already failed. You already lost the game in showing up visibly in the digital space. Okay. And people forget quickly, right? We've got like, I don't know, is it like a 3-second span these days? I think you've got like, we don't have the capacity to like remember things very well. And so unless you are staying in front of them, and maybe I just speak for myself, but I am very forgetful. So unless you are staying in front of them, people forget quickly. So you got to stay consistent and you got to stay in front of them. And if you see me looking over here, it's just because I keep checking the chat. So if you guys have questions, I just want to make sure I address them. Okay. So what doesn't work anymore? What doesn't work anymore? How many of you guys are still posting like maybe generic posts? How many of you guys are even posting at all? Like how many post consistently on your social pages? Say yes or no in the chat. Let me know. Let me know. Let me see how many people are posting consistently. Random. Okay, we've got a mix. We've got a mix. All right, cool. So consistently, and this kind of goes back to, you know, that relationship marketing, but consistently is what you can maintain. Okay, so I saw someone say like, yes, I post 1 to 2 times a week. That may not seem like, oh, well, once a week, that's not consistent. But if you're doing that all the time, every single week, that is consistency, right? If you're posting 4 times a week for 2 weeks and then not for 3 weeks, that's not consistent. Okay, so as long as you're doing something that you can maintain, that is consistency. So we need to stop thinking of sporadic selfies, right? Or relying solely on organic reach for visibility, solely on generic posts, solely on having no strategy. That doesn't work. We have to have some form of strategy around what we're doing, right? Some form of who are we talking to? Why are we talking to them? What do we want to talk to them about? Those are the things that are going to be more beneficial and work now. I have seen a massive shift in social media just this year when it comes to like strategy and marketing and what it looks like on social media in the sense of what actually is converting, what gets people's attention, what, you know, catches someone when they're scrolling, because it's so vast now and there's so much out there that people are consuming. So how do we stand out? Okay. And the biggest question is, how do we do it in front of the right people? So here's what you actually need when you are creating your content for your meta ads. You need relevant and engaging content. Okay. And I'm going to get to what that looks like. High frequency exposure. Okay. So when I say high frequency exposure, it's kind of like what has multiple legs? An octopus? It's kind of like that, right? You need a lot of touch points. People need a lot of touch points. And when you are trying to get in front of exactly who you want to be in front of, they need high exposure. They need to be in the multiple touch points. They need to be seeing your ads. They need to be seeing your content. They need to be seeing your emails, right? They need to be seeing all of that because that is what gets them to remember you by. Okay. It's not an overnight success. That's one thing I don't want you to think is, oh, I'm going to run these ads and I'm going to have overnight success. That does not happen. Okay. So high frequency exposure without being salesy, right? Because how many of us love to scroll social media and be sold to? Probably not many, right? We probably just kind of keep scrolling most of the time, unless it's something that really interests us. Okay. Although I'm really guilty at it, especially late at night. I'm like, "Ooh, what can I buy?" So that's what you want to do. You want to high frequency without being salesy. All right. And then you want to speak to your ideal audience. So if I were to ask you guys, and just so you know, I do ask a lot of questions. So hopefully you have your chat pulled up. How many of you know who your ideal audience is online? Who are you targeting directly through your ads, through your social media, through your content? Like, do you know who you're targeting? And it's okay. If the answer is no, like that is okay. Okay. Yes, no, we got some yeses, a few no's, haven't been very clear. Okay, cool. Now, I want you to then think about if you're not running meta ads. So those that you have answered like, no, I am not running ads, which is the majority of you guys. Do you know if you are actually speaking to that audience that you're posting consistently for on social media, right? Do you actually know that the people seeing your content that you're working so hard for is actually like the ideal audience, your past clients, Chris, or your referral partners, Jen? Like, do you know that they're seeing it, right? That's the value of meta ads. Not the entire internet, but your ideal audience, the ones that you want to be seen by, okay? And to be consistently seen, to stay top of mind all of the time is what you need to be doing all of the time. Okay. So this is how I'm going to show you how to stop blending in and start standing out. How are we doing? Good. Good. All right. All right. I love it. I love it. Okay. So let's dive in. Let's dive into meta ads. You may hear me interchange meta. You may hear me say Facebook. It's Facebook and Instagram are meta ads. Okay. So if I say Facebook, it's combining them. Okay, just be alert there. Where I'm trying to get into the new lingo here. Okay, so why do meta ads work? All right, we've already kind of touched on it, but they show up where your ideal audience scrolls every single day, right? So if I like, how many of us scroll, right? Like we may not have the time, but we find it. We find it somehow, just scrolling through Facebook and Instagram, just watching people's stories, watching people's stuff, seeing what someone's doing, right? What are the kids up to these days? We're scrolling. So we want to make sure that we are showing up where people are scrolling. Okay. All right. And do y'all know that you can run ads for $5 a day? Like $5 a day. That's, God, I'm bad at math. $150 a month if you do it every day, right? 150 bucks a month, $5 a day. And we can be seen by our ideal audience. And I'm gonna share with you who you should be targeting inside of your audience and how that looks. Okay. But $5 a day, that's it. Like that is pennies to target thousands of people. Okay. Pennies. And it allows you, so meta ads, the great thing with meta ads is it allows you to upload custom lists. Okay. So a custom list is one that you would pull your realtor partners, you would pull your past clients, you would pull these lists and they would have their name, their email, and their phone, right? And you can upload these lists directly into Meta and target them and only target people who are in that list. That's it, right? So that's how we're able to spend $5 a day to target exactly who we want to be seen by. Because we're uploading a list. We're literally saying, here, Facebook, here, Instagram, these 1,000 people are who I want this ad, oh, that's an empty bottle of water, this ad to be seen by, okay? That's huge, right? Now we know that what we're putting in, what we just put in, all this effort for this ad is being seen by these people. These people, this list of 1,000 real estate agents are seeing my ad. But if I were to post this on my social organically, maybe 2, maybe none. I don't even know, right? Okay. And so when I hand Meta this list of 1,000 real estate agents, what I typically see with my clients is about a 30 to a 70% match. There's no scientific data, but I have done this long enough that most of the time that I see with my clients is going to be a 30 to a 70% match. So if I have a list of 1,000, that is 300. Good. I'm glad I did easy math. That is 300 to 700 people, right? That are going to match from this list. Okay. As long as we have the identifiers, first name, last name, email, and phone. If you don't have all 4 identifiers, let's say you're like, well, Charles, I've only got first name, last name, and email. Cool. We can still use it, but you might be on that lower end. You might be on 20 to 30% match versus a higher end. Okay. But that's the power of meta ads. Okay. It allows you to take this list, this golden list, and upload it and target them directly versus all of the effort going into here. Okay. All right. So who should we be targeting? Okay. And this is going to vary greatly based on kind of your goals as well. But essentially, we want to be targeting our real estate agents, right? We want to be seen by our real estate agents, our realtor partners in our area, right? Those that we are calling on when we are, making our weekly calls. We want to make sure that we are being seen by them so that when we call them, they're going to answer. They're going to be like, I feel like I see Chelsea everywhere, right? Like, or I know her, and no, they don't. They just saw me drinking an iced coffee in an ad that was targeted directly to them, right? So that's what we want to make sure we're doing. So real estate agents, okay? Past clients. So if you are new, you may not have a large list of past clients. That's totally fine. Then for those of us that you're like, well, I have a list of past clients, but I haven't touched them in years, right? So like my girl that I'm 5 years old, throw an ad to me, right? Throw an ad to me. Start getting in front of those past clients. It's okay if they're 5 years old, if they're 7 years old. Start drudging them up, right? Start getting in front of them. Shake off those cobwebs. It's going into Halloween. Shake the cobwebs off, pull the list, get them uploaded into Facebook, okay? So that you can start being in front of them for the new year, for the holidays, for all of the things, right? Pre-approved and looking. So our pals, that's a great list to look at too. Our sphere of influence, that could be literally anybody, right? That could be literally anybody. Our friends from our phone. It can be if we are part of networking groups, pull that information. If we are part of chambers, pull the data from the chamber and upload that. That's our sphere of influence. Those are our local people, right? So those are some of the people that we should be targeting. Now, you see I have direct to consumer at the very bottom, italicized, and in black. Okay, so I have people that love to run direct to consumer ads, and that's okay. That's okay. But I do want to forewarn you that your direct to consumer ads, they're not going to be the best option. My loan officers, the ones that I work with, we run targeted ads for awareness, for visibility, for past clients. Maybe we're doing a mortgage review. For real estate agents, maybe we're running webinars, those types of things. But direct to consumer, it can take quite a lot of leads, right, to get in order to convert. Now, not to say it can't happen, but just as an FYI. Also with direct to consumer, so you know how I said that $5 a day? That's not going to be the case with direct to consumer, okay? Because you are targeting a much larger audience. You are targeting way more people. You need to be a lot higher per day in ad spend. On top of that, as a loan officer, we have to go into special ad categories, okay? When we go into special ad categories, meaning we have to go into housing and finance, when we go into those categories, it significantly reduces how we can target, okay? Which means it takes away our ability to target by age, gender, income, anything like that. So it will, like real estate agent as a job, like anything along those lines, it reduces that, okay? So it's possible, just know that that would not be the option I would go, especially starting, okay? Cool. All right, let me look at my chat real quick. If I knew the ideal audience, my referrals would be going up. Oh, Glenn, I love that. Yes, so for those who don't know their ideal audience, I highly recommend sitting down, and I do have a niche guide that kind of will walk you through that, but sitting down and really kind of figuring out who your ideal audience would be, especially if you're going to be running targeted ads. Okay. Especially if you are consistently posting on social, you want to make sure you're targeting the right people. Okay. You want to make sure that you're speaking to them. Okay, so can we have multiple targets like realtors and first-time home buyers? Yes, you can. So you can absolutely upload multiple lists. If you're like, I want to try and target first-time home buyers through direct to consumer, you absolutely can do that too. But again, it may take quite a lot of a chunk, take a lot of time on the back end with the follow-up, but it is possible. Okay. No worries, Wayne. You have fun. I hope I hope it's okay. I hope everything's okay. How do we find our ideal audience? So that's kind of going to be something that internally we're going to need to look at, right, John? So thinking about who is our ideal audience? Who are we wanting to target? What are we good at? What do we want to showcase? All of those things. I'm actually gonna, at the end, if you remind me, guys, I will drop a link to my niche guide. It's totally free, but it asks all these questions and it helps you narrow down, like, should I be targeting real estate agents? Should I be targeting past clients? Like, and yes, you should be targeting all of them, but you also want to think about when you put out content. So if you're putting out an ad, if you're putting out a social content piece, you want to make sure the person on the other end that you're speaking to is a specific person, right? So if you're talking to real estate agents, that verbiage in the ad is going to sound different because you're going to talk about, I'm here for your clients. I'm right versus like, I'm here for you. I'm here to help walk you through the home buying process, or I'm here to get you pre-approved. Real estate agents, I'm here to get your buyers pre-approved. Okay. So the verbiage is going to look different there. Okay, and then can we be as specific as self-employed borrowers who cannot use? No, not if you are doing direct to consumer, you cannot. So unfortunately, it does not allow you to pull that. Now, I don't know if there's lists that you can pull for that, but not in meta world. And then Caitlin dropped my link to the downloads folder for the niche guide. So find the niche guide and use that. That'll, I think, will help a lot of you guys kind of narrow down your niche. And it's not necessarily just who, right? It's also talking about what should I niche down and talk about a lot, right? Like if I want to target real estate agents and I'm a really, really good at VA loans, let's talk about it. Let's dive in. Let's really like kind of get into the nitty and gritty on that. Okay. All right. So what makes an ad memorable? 3 parts. Recognition, so your face, your name, your brand, right? So you being in the content, that's what makes it memorable, right? If you see my face, you see my background, you see I just dyed my hair pink for my birthday. I think I might stay. I like it. But you see my pink hair. If you see that in an ad and then you see like me out and about, you're gonna correlate that, okay? Relevance, making sure again it's something that they care about, not something that you think they care about, something that they care about, that they want to know. Okay. And repetition, showing up consistently. It's not just for 30 days. Ads can take months, years, right? You want to be showing up all of the time in front of your ideal audience because guess what? I'm a real estate agent and I might not have anyone for you right now or tomorrow when you get your ad up, but in 6 months, all of a sudden I see your ad for getting a second opinion and I'm like, you know what? I've got a buyer who like really needs a second opinion. And now all of a sudden I'm reaching out to you 6 months from now. Okay. So think about that. All right. So here's some topic ideas. I would recommend if you have your phone taking a screenshot, you will be getting the recording of this. But I want to share these topic ideas. These are great ways to incorporate you into your content for your ads. So I want you to think about, instead of just saying something like, I don't know, if you don't think you can buy a home, let me tell you, like, here's how you actually can, right? Have more of an I statement. Okay. So my fifth bullet point down, instead of saying like, here are 3 questions you should ask a lender, right? Before choosing that lender, talk about it from your perspective. Before working with any lender, I would ask these 3 questions. That's a lot more powerful than just, here are the top 3 questions you should be asking your lender, right? When you are saying, before working with any lender, I would ask these 3 questions, right? Here's how I help clients feel more confident, okay? I made this mistake when I bought my first house, so don't repeat it. I'm going to share it with you, okay? Those are a lot more powerful than just, oh, if you're buying your first house, don't make this mistake. No. It's coming like, here's what I did, and here's what I did to fix it. Or here's what I'm telling you not to do what I did, right? So think about how you can turn some of your topics into conversations from you, okay? How you can turn this into, this is what I did, or this is what I recommend, okay? If we were having coffee right now, I would tell you, you should get a pre-approval, right? Like, that is something a lot more powerful than just get a pre-approval. And here's why, right? So I want you to start thinking in that manner. And I wrote these, but ChatGPT is a great resource. So you can always take these, copy, paste them into ChatGPT and ask them to help you kind of finish them, right? And then I also added in some that are just for you, right? Not for you, but for you to talk about, to share on social. Like, here's how I reset after a hard day, okay? In the caption, right? Then you're doing a video, maybe you're sitting by a fire pit outside, or you're swinging and you're watching the sunset, whatever the case may be. Here's how I reset after a hard day, right? Very simple, little B-roll footage if you want to swing outside. But the caption then can talk about, after, helping my clients closed on their home today, I love to this is my favorite thing to do, is come outside, right? So you're still relating it back to loans. You're still relating it back to being a lender without saying, I'm a lender, right? Come work with me. You're coming in and you're saying, here's how I like to reset after a hard day, or here's what I like to do after a successful day of getting someone to the closing table or handing over the keys or whatever. So it's not salesy, right? You're not saying, hey, work with me, work with me. You're saying, like, you're subtly saying, I'm a lender, I can do these things, work with me, but you're not saying work with me, right? Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. But I love these. These are some really great starting points for these topics, okay? Oh, Jim, she has pink hair. She's good taste. Okay, so you're not gonna be able to hear these, so let me just pause them. But these are some real examples that are done really well, okay? And so when I have clients that run ads, a lot of times what I'll have them do is go somewhere they love or do something they love doing, okay? And have them create an ad there, okay? So for example, Mike is my first one. He loves to go on bike rides and he lives in Boston. Told him, go for a bike ride, find a really pretty spot in Boston. I think that's the Boston Harbor behind him. And he told a story. He told a story about a recent closing that he had. Okay. Rick, my next one, he just wrote a book. And so I told him, go sit and have a conversation about what that book means to you and why you wrote it. Okay. And then John loves NASCAR, lives in Arizona, went to Phoenix Raceway, and I told him to ChatGPT. I think he was targeting first-time homebuyers in this. I said, take ChatGPT, say, I am a loan officer, I love NASCAR, and I want to relate NASCAR to buying a home for a first-time homebuyer. Give me some ideas, and it spits out a bunch of ideas. Sometimes it's really corny, but there's some good ones in there if you ask it for multiples. And I said, he was going to the NASCAR race, said, while you're there, record a video. And that's what he did. And these 3 videos were their top performing videos in ads. Okay. And that's because they're personalized. They showcase who they are as a person, and they're talking and they're in their element. So it's not reading off a screen or sitting at your desk or, anything like that. It's just literally them holding a phone. I think Mike was a little nervous because he's like, there's a little bit of wind, right? I'm on the water. And I'm like, we got it to quiet down, but you could still hear it. It's okay, right? It's humanized. We are human. So I want you to think about that. You want to do that in your ads, okay? You want to showcase yourself in your ads. So if you remember nothing else from this, I want you to remember that visibility can equal referrals. Okay. If I would have known, if I would know who my lender is from 5 years ago, she probably would have like 4 or 5 referrals from me. Okay. But I don't remember who she is. So she hasn't got referrals from me. So visibility does equal referrals. And your best clients will forget you if you don't stay top of mind, right? Like if you aren't staying in front of them, if you aren't consistently showing up, your best clients will forget you, or your real estate partners will forget you, right? You may have killed it on a deal with them, right? But in 6 months, if you haven't been reaching out, if you haven't been calling them and checking in on them and showing up in front of them, they're gonna be like, oh, I don't remember. Like they're busy. They're busy too. They're gonna forget, right? So meta ads can give you that affordable, effortless exposure if they're done right. Okay. So let's kind of dive into any questions so far before I kind of dive into this last little piece of the puzzle. Has this been helpful so far? Thumbs up. Yes, I see some head shakes. Okay, awesome. And then I've got a lot of people not on camera. I don't like when I can't see your beautiful faces. Okay. All right. So I have an aligned ads framework. All right. This is what helps keep a lot of people visible, consistent, right? Humanized. And it supports your business instead of stressing you out. So when you follow a framework, I love frameworks. I love when you can follow something like A, B, C, D. I am a checklist gal. I love when I can just follow something through and through, right? Makes it so easy. And so this is what I have put together based around years of working in the ad space, years of working specifically with loan officers, creating ads. Because this is what keeps everyone visible. This is what keeps it simple, right? Because we don't want complicated. We do not want I can make ads complicated. We do not want complicated ads. We want simple ads. And so awareness, learn, intention, guide, nurture, engage, and data. And y'all, look at how clever I am. My business is fully aligned marketing, and I was like, how can I make this aligned, right? So this is my little cleverness of my marketing brain. So, anyways, this is the framework. Awareness, learn, intention, guide, nurture, engage, and data. Okay. So there are pieces of the puzzle that go into each one of these pieces of the framework. Okay. I am not going to dive into the framework. I want you to, yay, I'm so happy, Amy. Thank you. I want you to want to learn how to implement it. Okay. So how many of you want to learn how to do meta ads? How to implement simple, aligned framework strategies to target your ideal audience? Well, we first got to start out with who your ideal audience is, which we will work through. But how many of you want to learn that, right? Want to actually learn how to implement that? Because again, I manage a lot of ads and we don't want complicated, right? We don't need complicated. Ads can be very, very complicated. I get it. Like, holy moly. So you also don't need more random social media tactics. You don't need, what you need is a step-by-step plan, and you need accountability. So many times I see people with a step-by-step plan, A, B, C, D, right? Like if I just handed you on a silver platter, here's what you need to do in ads to get to where you want to go, you're probably not going to implement it. I think I was in a conference one time where like 100% of the loan officers were given like, right, the step-by-step instructions, and I think like they said like 3% typically actually implement, 3%, maybe 10%. So it's a minimal number of people. Out of 100, 10 people are going to actually implement something they learn. Okay. So don't be that 10%, be that 10%. Don't be the 90%. So you need content ideas and examples. A lot of times you probably like tell me yes in the comments, like you probably like, I have no idea what to even run. Like I want to run ads. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to post. I don't know what to share. I don't know what to talk about in these ads, right? Like I don't mind putting them together. Don't know what to say, right? Don't know what type of content to put to who. And so you also need the support when you get stuck, because I will tell you, I have seen so many times getting into the back end of Facebook, it's complicated, right? And a lot of times it's not set up correctly. And you're like, well, I have no idea. I have no idea how it got set up. I have no idea what's going on back there. And everyone's looks different. It's like, it's a mess sometimes in Facebook world. Like, I will be the, yeah, right? Jim preach. I'll be the first to tell you, it looks different. My back end of Facebook looks different than probably all of yours, right? And everyone's is so different. And so it's frustrating. So like when you even follow a step-by-step plan, especially in Meta, you're like, well, I don't see that button, right? Like I don't see that spot. That's not there. So it happens. I get it. So I'm launching the FAM Society. We are revamping my FAM Society going forward. It is going to be fully ad focused for at least the next 8 to 10 weeks. We are diving into the aligned ads strategy. I'm going to be doing weekly live trainings that are going to take you from A to Z to a published ad. Okay, so you're going to learn all the way through that process every week, right? You're going to learn how to build that aligned framework. You are going to learn how to actually build your ads from point A through point Z. Okay. I'm also going to give you monthly content calendars because while this won't be necessarily social media organic focused, I want you to also understand that when you run paid ads, when you run ads in well, they're all paid. When you run ads in general, you're running it through your business page. Okay. When you run through your business page, even if you're using a website or a link that you want them to click and go to, whatever the case may be, it's still being ran through your business page. So anyone can click on that ad on your name on that business page and go to that business page. And if you have not posted on that business page in over a year, someone's going to be like, someone is scamming me, right? Or you are no longer in business and forgot to turn your ads off. Okay. So you still want to make sure you're posting on your business page consistently, 1 to 2 times a week, 3 to 4 times a week, right? Whatever that is to you, but I give you that content calendar. You're going to get some ad templates from me, guides, chat GPT prompts throughout. Community, you'll get live support from me every week in our calls, and a replay library. So if you need to go back and watch it over and over and over again, you get the replay library to this. The really cool thing too is inside of this, so once we kind of go through the aligned ads framework and we get through the ads portion, so that's going to be about an 8 to 10 week course, then we're going to dive into something that you're voting on. So it still may be very ads focused, but maybe we're working on how to build Canva ads, right? How can we build Canva ads and how can we do video content? So we're building into all of that, okay? So that's the FAM Society. It's getting revamped. Within the first 8 weeks of joining, you will have your first $5 ad running, okay, to the right audience. You will know how to set up your custom audiences. You will understand your key insights and what needs to be tweaked in those ads, right, in order to be successful or have changes. You're going to have content that feels natural, not pushy. So think about those topic ideas I gave you. We're going to talk through those and how we can create ads around that content. And then you're going to stay consistent without spending hours and hours and hours learning on your own, okay? Because it's hard. It's hard work. I get it. So if you want to join, it's $47 a month, but because my birthday was yesterday, and yesterday was the 24th, and while I may not be 24, you will get $24 off your first month. So it's totally, join. You can cancel anytime. So if you're in it for a month and you're like, yeah, ads are not my thing, you can cancel at any time. The birthday cakes. That's fun. How did that happen? There's like birthday cakes dropping in the chat. I love it. I don't even know how that happened. Um, so if you want to join, it's $47 a month. Your first month with the code BDAY24 will drop it down to $24. I think it's $23 off. It's $24, whatever that comes to. And again, you can cancel at any time. So I hope you join. I hope to see you there. You guys know I still love to bring you as much value as I can. Even if you're not inside of the society, I'm still always here. So what questions do you guys have for me that I can help answer? We still got a little bit of time. So let me actually go through the chat, make sure I didn't miss any questions. Jim, yeah. So on my own, I find the instructions that start with the go-to tab but no directions on how to get to the tab, right? Yes, like go to this tab and you're like, well, I don't even know where that tab even is. So I get it. And girl, it changes so often. Yeah, it really does. And thanks. I love having Chelsea show me in 10 minutes. Yeah, it would take me weeks. Yep. So, and that's the thing, right? Like having someone like staying up to date because it changes. The back end of Meta, y'all actually just changed again for me yesterday. And what I noticed too, because again, I'm managing a lot of ad accounts, it's different for like even between clients. It's based on because if you know the algorithm or you know the social media platforms, you know some people get things and like they're testing certain things, so they roll it out to you randomly, or you're still on an old thing, but that you don't have the ability to update to a new platform thing. So even between my clients, they're different. The platforms are different. So the buttons are different, right? It's all the same concept, but some things are placed a little differently, or you have to turn something on versus on. It's just, I get it. It changes and it's not the same for everybody. So we'll actually walk through. So if you're hung up, if you're like, Chelsea, well, I'm where you're telling me, but my screen doesn't look that way, I'm going to have you share your screen and I'm going to see what you're looking at, right? 90% of the time, I've probably seen your screen at some point and can walk you through it very easily. If I can't, I have the resources to get there. Okay. Okay. Oh, thanks for the birthday wishes. I know my dad wished me, he said, happy 17th anniversary. No, yeah, happy 17th anniversary to your 18th birthday. And he was incorrect. I said, well, how old do you think I am? I appreciate that, but that is not the right age. I am older than that. So he went back in and adjusted it. And I was like, well, I didn't want you to adjust it. I just want you to know I'm not that age, but everyone else can think that. Okay. I tried to download the niche. And it didn't, completed the form and it did not download. Oh, it will email to you as well. So check your email. If you downloaded any of the guides, they will email to you from hello@fullyalignedmarketing. Make sure to check your spam. Also, sometimes if you are in like a corporate sector, it will get blocked in your corporate like spam like thing that you have to have it released. Okay. Servicing CTAs, what do most people use? What's the easiest for a beginner to use and maintain? Facebook or website landing page? Perfect. So Jimmy, in terms of like a CTA, so inside of your ads, you can do a couple of different things, right? You're obviously going to have the ability to run several different types. So I usually recommend awareness ads, which are reach campaigns. They're for visibility. We're trying to get in front of as many of our realtors in that list as possible, or our sphere of influence, or our past clients, or whatever the case be. But inside of that ad, we can also include a link to our website, a link to a landing page, a link to wherever, or no link at all, right? Some people are like, no, my website sucks. I don't want it. I don't want anyone to see it. So we don't link it. So it really kind of depends on what our outcome is of that ad. Now with a reach campaign, our goal is going to be just visibility. And a secondary case would be what they're clicking to. And sorry, I just heard flaps. So I'm like, oh, she's coming, but she's not. So it kind of depends on what our goal is, and we'll walk through that. But you can use in an awareness ad, you can use a website, you can use a landing page. Now, if you are sending them to your website or a landing page, you want some form of call to action there too, right? You want them to opt into something. You want them to be able to have the ability to book a call with you or take them to your contact form, right? All of that kind of stuff needs to be where that landing page goes. Okay. So my day and time, it'll be Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And then the replays will be available shortly thereafter as well. And then if we get like, if people are having a lot of issues with that day and time, I'll do a poll and we can always adjust from there. Dad's great with love, not so great with dates. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. And my mom and I are very close in dates for birthdays. Mine's the 24th and hers is the 29th. So he's always gotten them mixed up sometimes with that too. So, you know. And then Paul, can you post again? I jumped on. Yeah, we'll be sending out the replay. And then also if you want to join the FAM Society, that link is up there. Yay, I'm so excited. What if you want to have them register for your webinar for higher conversion? Do you send a landing page? Oh, that's a good question, Fanny. Okay, so Fanny asks if you are having a webinar, right? So just like this, and you are running ads to that webinar. Do you want them to sign up through a landing page? So let's say I send them to the Zoom registration page that most all of you probably signed up through. Or do I want them to fill a form out on Facebook, and then on the back end, I would manually have to then register them for that Zoom, right? Or you can create Zaps or all the fancy tech on the back end, but regardless, it's not an immediate thing. So with that, I always recommend A/B testing. Okay, so I always recommend A/B testing both and running both for a week and seeing what gets better conversions on your end. Most of the time, I will say for 99% of my clients, the actual Facebook form has been better because it's not taking them off of Facebook world to have to complete information. They're able to just click a button, fill out their little form, and then submit it. Whereas if they click a button, go to a landing page, they got to fill out information there, click submit, go back to Facebook, right? You got to think about user experience and what's going to be beneficial for them. Now, if you have a kick-ass landing page, that's one thing. If it's a landing page that converts, but most of the time you're probably going to see where not a lot of like landing pages, they may be a little bit more simplified. So like the Zoom link registration page, right? A lot more simplified, right? But if you did come through my actual registration page, that's a lot more in depth. So I A/B test and then go from there. That's what I recommend. That's all I needed to know. I love that, Carl. All right, me too. And then let's see. Will the weekly live Zooms be recorded? Absolutely, yes. So live Zooms will be recorded. Anything I do will be recorded. And then if there's like little things here and there, so sometimes people just need like, hey, I'm stuck like right here, right? Like I just need this little bit is missing. I'll try and do another like short little Zoom and upload it for everyone too, because if again, the back end of Meta can look so different. So if it looks different for you, it's more than likely someone else in the group also has a different look too. So then I'll kind of record it in both scenarios. Oh, and then, yeah, so Caitlin, Greg, if you don't use the QR code, Caitlin dropped the link in the chat for you as well. Okay, and then are you able to play those 3 videos you thought were good examples? Let me see, I don't know if you guys can hear them. Let me go back and let me see if you can. Let me.
Hey everyone, Mike Kidwell with Leader
Can
Bank.
you hear that?
My bike this afternoon, thought of a quick
You
story
can.
that I wanted to share with you. So I recently received a phone call about 3 weeks ago.
Okay, so let me start. So
thought of me.
Pause. Oh boy, look.
Buying a home.
I have y'all. Sometimes me and tech. I'm real good with social. I'm real bad with Zoom.
I was riding my bike this afternoon. Thought of a quick.
So pause, Mike. So what I want you to take from Mike's is few things, but in the very beginning, you hear him say, I was riding my bike and I thought of something, right? So he's telling you what I'm doing. And then like in the background, he's got this pretty little view.
Michael Kidwell with Leader Bank. I was riding my bike this afternoon, thought of a quick story that I wanted to share with you. So I recently received a phone call about 3 weeks ago from a listing agent. She thought of me. She had a client, single mom, 2 kids, who had won the lottery on an affordable housing unit. She had gone to her big bank that she works with, thinking that was a safe bet. That's often the case when you're buying your first home. You feel like the bigger banks might be a safer bet than maybe a smaller bank or mortgage broker. In this case, she got a week prior to closing, and the big bank ghosted her. Evidently, the person maybe got laid off or fired, who knows? But nonetheless, nowhere to be found. So they reached out to us, and we did our due diligence. Definitely a tougher deal, not the easiest deal, but it was certainly worth it because she was a first-time home buyer, single mom, 2 kids, getting this affordable housing unit. Our bank was able to put it together, our team, and 2 days from now, she's going to be closing on her first home.
So really cool, like story, right? Just kind of talking about it again. Rick here. I don't know if you can hold on. Oh. That one's really soft. You can't hear that, can you? Yeah, that one's real low. And then John.
Buying a home is a lot like NASCAR. You need precision, the right team to get you across the finish line. Just like a great pit crew, keeping the drivers moving forward, a great mortgage broker keeps your home on track. Fast approvals, great communication, and no unexpected pit stops.
And that's the raw footage. That's not our edited. I couldn't find the edited version, but you kind of get the idea of, what that looks like when you are putting together your like something you love. So like if you come on, a lot of times I'll ask, hey, what are 3 things that you love outside of mortgages, right? So like for example, I told you like I love boba tea, I love iced coffee. Clearly, I love chickens, I have cows. I also love Disney. So those are things that I would want to incorporate in my content, right? So I have videos of me feeding my cows, and like the text overlay is about marketing, right? But it shows you who I am as a person. And those videos do really well because it's humanized, and it's like, oh, Chelsea loves cows. Or Chelsea has chickens in her office, right? And even though the content is about what I do for my business, it's still showcasing who I am as a human, right? And you can relate to those types of things. Well, maybe not you specifically, or maybe you can, but that gives conversation, right? That sparks a conversation. John got a couple of messages like, I didn't know you liked NASCAR, or I was there too, right? So like those things, like it might gone over their head what he was even talking about. But the fact that he was like at a NASCAR race, then it sparks some of that engagement as well. So think about that too when you're creating content is, what are some things I enjoy doing just as a human? Or my team, like if you are a team, right? Because sometimes you're like, well, it's not just me, I have a team. Then have your team do some video content too, right? They can be outside, doing what I'm literally like looking at cutting down a tree. So, they could be outside cutting down trees, and like again, put some context over it. So it can be team focused as well. It doesn't always have to just be like one person if it's a multitude of LOs under you under one account. Okay. All right. So I hope that was helpful. Any other questions for me before we wrap up? I hope you guys learned quite a lot. It makes people feel like they know you. I've been following Chelsea for a year, and I feel like I know her even though I don't. Thanks, Amy. I do too. And that's the thing. Like you want people like and on the flip side of that, you also want to be real, right? You don't want to be fake, because then when they meet you in person and you're not like that person, they're gonna be like, well, you're nothing like how I see you online, right? Like nothing like that person. So you want to also make sure that you are like human too, and that you're being authentically human, and not just, oh, I love cows, but like you don't, right? Or like, I love boba tea too, but you don't, you never even had it. So making sure that you're also being authentic is key. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Any other questions for me that I can help you guys with? And then I will get you over to, that's my contact information. So again, if you guys want to reach out to me, you can send me a message. I'm on socials, Fully Aligned Marketing, anywhere. Anywhere that there's a social media platform, I am there. Now, whether I post consistently on that platform is another thing, but but I am there. So if you want to follow me, feel free. Please reach out. Let me know. But if you have no other questions, this will be getting sent out. So the replay will be sent over to you guys. Once it processes, you'll get it. I'm going to be sending everything out tomorrow morning. Along with, since you registered, you will also be getting my aligned guide. And that just kind of walks through what each of those letters mean and stand for inside of Meta Ads. So I'm super excited if you guys join the FAM Society. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you next week in our first live call. But keep a lookout for some emails from me up to then, and you should be getting some emails for the community. If you don't see them, please email us at either Chelsea or hello@Fully Aligned, and we will make sure to get all of that to you. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so, so much. And I don't know how to stop this webinar. Oh, here, stop share. Let's go. I tell you, I am good at social media. I suck at Zoom. All right. So I appreciate you guys. If you need anything else from me, again, please feel free to reach out, but I will see you guys later. And thank you so very much.